Talks.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Go Movie Talks. This is Freddy speaking, and my co-host, Maria Laura.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Freddy, what are we talking about today?
A non-controversial movie, but controversial to this show because apparently we don't see eye to eye about this movie. So it should be an interesting one. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
What movie are we talking about today, Maria Laura?
Anora.
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh.
Okay, so
Ooh.
let's do something. Should I summarize it very briefly and then give you the floor room for you to start, dissecting it?
Go ahead. Shoot.
All right. So, again, very briefly put, Anora, the movie itself showcases the story of a prostitute that at some point met this rich kid, stress-on kid. You see how the relationship evolves up until the point where they get married. Yeah, I know it's stupid. But then, like, up to that point, you could see the movie has pretty, like, in my opinion, 3 stages. That's the first stage. Everything involved with getting to know each other up to the point where they get married.
Yeah,
Then after
the fairy tale.
Hmm?
The fairy tale.
Correct, the fairy tale, absolutely. Very much pretty woman. But then, of course, reality hits. He's a kid. He does not really have. Uh, he seems to be to have a lot of money. Of course, we find out he's not his own
Extremely
boss.
rich.
Absolutely, it was obvious. It was obvious. Let's face it. It was obvious.
Yeah.
But of course, throughout the entire this first section of the movie, I mean, if you're really thinking, is okay, there is something off. You don't really know what it is, but you know there's something off. Of course, he's just a kid. He was not underage, but he was still a kid. And so the outcome of this rich kid getting married with a prostitute, and it's very comedic. I found it hilarious. I laughed throughout the entire this second stage of the movie. Fabulous.
Exactly.
And then up until then they get divorced. Again, very briefly put, this is very not action packed, but a lot of events take place in this second stage of the film. And then the last 5 to 10 minutes, where you finally see emotions unravel. That's pretty much it. Mara Laura, okay, so I am for this movie. I proposed it, and let's. I will say this from the very beginning. I know the lady, the main actress, she won the Oscar for this acting.
Yes.
And I will insist, you don't have to like it. That's very valid. So keeping that in mind, the background, pretty much, just so that we all know what we're discussing here. But to us,
Yeah.
the fact that a movie has won an award doesn't necessarily mean much because it's our opinion, not others' opinion. So yes, we know, we're aware. She won many awards. I'm for the movie. I actually support it. But okay, I want to
And
hear.
actually, I consider, even though I didn't like the movie, she
Perfect.
deserves that Oscar.
Give it to us. Give
She
it to us.
deserves it. Okay. I mean, yes, as you said before, there are three main parts of this movie. Okay, the typical traditional fairy tale, which I consider is a very, I was gonna say pathetic representation of a modern Romeo and Juliet. But up to the point, it's, I mean, why do I consider this as pathetic? Because it is contextualized in a very modern society, okay, where, again, information is pretty much at hand of everyone, Okay.
What does that mean?
Having said this,
Wait, what does the fact that information is available to everybody? What is that supposed?
information
How does that affect this?
information is available to everybody means that I don't justify the behaviors of the characters, especially the girl. Okay, Annie. Okay.
No, but expand on it. I wanna hear more because I still
Well,
don't see.
Freddy, but if you let me talk, I will expand for sure. So, as I was saying before, these or as you were explaining, these two kids actually, because they're both young, okay, uh, get to know each other at a very common place. Okay, they get to know at a discotheque. Uh, they feel attracted by each other, and actually, they start having fun. You know, as two kids, they have fun. Okay, and suddenly this boy comes with
Fine. I will just pinch in paid fun. And again, remember her job. So yes, they start having fun, absolutely, but there is this in between. So also keep.
exactly. She is a little bit a little, just a slight difference. I want to clarify a little bit more mature than this boy, okay?
Just a
In
little.
the sense that she knows she's there to work, she's having fun, but at the same time, obviously, she has a trauma, okay? Like everyone, okay? And the boy itself has a trauma too, okay? I don't know which of the two traumas is more pathetic,
Prevalent. Oh,
okay?
okay.
But as a matter of fact, I mean, you can identify the degree of solitude these both characters have, okay? And that's a fact. They're both alone. One of them is rich, one of them is poor, okay? And apart from that, she has another social tag, which is okay, this is what you do for a living. Okay. So there are social implications there. Again, nothing new. The rich and the poor.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is yeah. We've heard this story before. There is not much new here.
Exactly, exactly. And suddenly you start analyzing the girl in regards to how she tries to get involved in the life of this young rich boy who actually doesn't do anything. He just has fun. He goes to parties. He plays video games a lot. That's
To
his
be
life.
studying. He's supposed to be studying, but we never, never. I mean, the movie takes place within 2 weeks, so it could be holidays, vacation from the studies, but at the same time, he doesn't seem like the kind of kid that actually studies. You can, I would assume, just
Exactly.
money is paying for university. That's it. He will get the degree without actually
Yeah,
ever opening.
exactly. He's just, his parents are paying for everything and he will get a degree for
Yeah,
sure. Okay. I mean, everything is guaranteed to this boy throughout his parents' money, okay? Because we can see parents can control absolutely everything, even regulations with money, okay? So, for this boy, nothing constitutes a problem because he's used to see that his parents, this is the way they solve life, okay? And actually, you see that pattern repeated, okay? You see, okay, for example, the proposal he had for her, okay, come to me and let's have fun throughout these days. And she says, wait a minute, I have to work. And he says, no problem, I'll pay for everything. How much? This quantity. Okay, no problem. You see? So that's the way he deals with life. If dealing is a good term to mention here. But then there's this other part, okay, which is a traumatized girl who's very lonely. She is also young, immature, again, not as immature as this boy, okay, because we can see that she has faced crisis,
Yeah,
okay?
exactly. She's a streetwise.
Exactly. I particularly make a point into the solitude, the level of solitude of these two characters, okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you see someone's alone and has learned vices, okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to recognize, okay, he does that, she does that because of this and this and that, okay?
And
Well,
they feed into each other's vices. That's another thing. I think that's also
that,
why they got along. I wouldn't say they deeply connected, but they got along just because, again, one is just looking to fill a void of loneliness with money,
okay.
and the other one needs the money, and she's also alone. So,
Exactly. Yeah,
mhm.
yes. What I think the movie tries to make on the viewer was to generate some sort of sensitivity towards this female character, okay, towards Annie. Why?
Even
Well, I probably think so because, first of all, she's alone. You know, she has a difficult life, okay? And life is difficult because of the lack of money, okay? That's a reality for many of us, actually. So that's actually one of the most relatable parts. Oh, girl, I understand you. You know, I get what it is. But then the second part is she is alone. She wasn't loved. I mean, you don't see any, or at least the movie doesn't provide you with information about how her childhood was, okay?
yeah,
Regarding, I mean, not deeply,
okay, not deeply,
superficially,
uh-huh. Because they
okay?
they briefly show you the mother with, a younger man. She doesn't even know who she is, and she's like, "I'm going away for 7 days," and no, I'll be back Tuesday. And then she's like, "Today's Tuesday." She's like, "Yeah, 7 days. Wow." So
Exactly. But I
that's
mean,
a family.
it's a type of parents that are there, exist, but they don't play a role,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay? So technically, this girl is alone, okay? So it's like, okay, you can perfectly understand she needs to be seen, she needs to be touched, she needs to be taken into consideration by someone, okay?
Uh-huh.
So,
So skipping to the second part, yeah, because we're amassing time here. Skipping to the second part, keeping all of that in mind.
uh-huh.
How is the movie? How does the movie evolve? Like, what's the break point here to
It's
transition into the second
it
section?
turns into a big disaster. At the beginning, you think these guys are part of a mafia who are looking for this boy and all that, and they want to get them set apart and divorced and all that. But as a matter of fact, they're just employees of this rich family who are taking care of the boy because parents cannot take care of the boy. As simple as that. Okay, so they pay these guys to keep watching him on what he does in the United
Do you
States.
know what this entire section reminded me of? The chemistry between the actors. Do you know? I don't know if you know it in English, but the Three Stooges, los tres chiflados.
Yeah, the three, of
That
course.
look. Uh,
Yeah.
I remember watching this the first time, and
Mo,
like,
Larry, and the other one. Yes.
yes, it was so much. I don't know if that was the actual inspiration behind it, but I had so much fun. It had been years since I had seen this kind of comedy, and besides, beyond just the comedy, the juxtaposition, the very first section, which lasted like 50 minutes,
Uh-huh.
then we just make this drastic change of the storytelling to this. I'm like, wow, that
Yeah.
that that hit me, because I'll face it, the very first minutes of the 50 minutes of the movie, I was not necessarily
Engage.
engaged. Yeah, I was like, okay, I know this will end up badly. I already knew because to me it was obvious. Like there is something off here. He'll dump her or
It's
something, and
obvious.
that's it.
And
But
that's the part I didn't like about the girl, okay? Because again, the portrayal of this character, okay, at certain point you can justify certain behaviors, but not others. I mean, the fact of saying yes to that marriage was like, I mean,
she's
come on,
desperate.
girl.
I mean, she's desperate. All this. I mean, again, I and this is something that I have to clarify. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. But at the same time, I cannot judge because I haven't been in that position. I haven't been a prostitute. I actually had a better family. Well, I have a better
And
family
actually,
than
she
she did.
wasn't because, I mean, the only person who she actually has, that kind of intercourse is with this boy, not with the other men. So
Well,
that's a very interesting
they
point.
imply
And
she does have sex, but
and she fights for that. Whenever somebody calls her like that, she says, "No, wait a minute. I'm not that. I am this." Okay?
yeah,
Uh
she
huh.
does. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Well, you're right. You're right. Exactly. So
Uh-huh.
she made no. She did clarify at some point. Yeah, she's right that she's an exotic dancer. Yeah, but at the same time,
Exactly.
in
She's an
that
exotic
world,
dancer, and that's another point. That's another social point.
mhm,
Okay. It's like, okay,
the stigma that comes from it. Yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah,
Okay.
because and I also know this from a fact. Like in real life, I know exotic dancers.
Yeah.
They try to keep that stigma away because again, let's face it, it like a stripper is way more acceptable just because you're not. It's
You
that's
know,
how it's seen. You're not selling your body.
and the movie, the interesting part about the movie is that the movie touched all the social cliches. It's like it at some point there was someone who asked her if her boyfriend agreed with the whole thing. That's a typical question. Oh, what does your boyfriend think about this? There are other cliches, like, for example, married guys going to these places, or I don't know, any political figure or something like that. I mean, yeah, of course.
And
Fantastic.
I will
Common.
agree with you. There are a lot of cliches. However, to
Uh-huh.
me, the good part is that they handled it with humor because I
Exactly.
insist. Like
Yeah.
the first half of the movie, it is relevant because it's what is it sets the ground for the comedy. If the first 50 minutes of the movie do not happen, then you don't really see it as funny because literally you were expecting something more tragic just to start happening, and then that's exactly how they handle it. No, this is not gonna be a tragedy. This is
Exactly.
gonna be funny, and he
It's
accomplished it.
supposed to be funny. It's supposed to, there is a lot of social criticism. Yes, that's right. And very intelligently handled. Okay. She wanted to fit somewhere. Okay. So
Her sense of belonging,
her sense
yes,
of belonging.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
she
That's
was looking for that because even with the family, the first conversation that she had with the kid's family was I'm proud of being part of your family, and again I understand
oh, and
where the mom and father come from. Like
she
okay,
spoke
you're
a little bit of Russian, and all that. No, sweetie.
the worst part is that they also they dabbed on the fact that possibly and I don't know, this is the impression that I got from the mom and the dad. Like most likely he was the one with the money, and then she also became part of the family because she was a very judgmental of her. So to me that also said like okay, you may have been the one who did that with him, and now you don't want somebody else to do that to your money because that's again that's the dynamics that I got, and also playing into stereotypes. Since the movie
Yeah.
really used a lot of stereotypes, I'm sure that could
Yeah.
also easily be
And
one.
the way she judges this other guy who was part of the mafia, she treats him like, no, you're gonna you're gonna do bad things to me and all that. And he was like, no.
just look. Uh,
She wanted to fit somewhere. Okay. So
her sense of belonging.
her
Yes.
sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
She was looking for that because even with the family, the first conversation that she had with the kid's family was, I'm proud of being part of your family. And again, I understand
Oh,
where
and she
where the mom
spoke
and father come from. Like,
she
okay,
spoke
you're
a little bit of Russian, and all that. No, sweetie.
the worst part is that they dabbed on the fact that possibly, and I don't know, this is the impression that I got from the mom and the dad. Like, most likely he was the one with the money, and then she also became part of the family because she was a very judgmental of her. So to me, that also said, like, okay, you may have been the one who did that with him, and now you don't want somebody else to do that to your money, because that's I again, that's the dynamics that I got. And also playing into, stereotypes, since the movie really used a lot of stereotypes. I'm sure that could
Yeah.
also easily be
And
one.
the way she judges this other guy who was part of the mafia, she treats him like, no, you're gonna do bad things to me and all that. And he was like, no.
Just look. uh,
She wanted to fit somewhere. Okay. So
Her sense of belonging.
her
Yes.
sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
She was looking for that because even with the family, the first conversation that she had with the kid's family was, I'm proud of being part of your family. And again, I understand
Oh, and
where the mom and father come from. Like,
she
okay,
spoke a little bit of Russian, and all that. No, sweetie.
the worst part is that they dabbed on the fact that possibly, and I don't know, this is the impression that I got from the mom and the dad. Like, most likely he was the one with the money, and then she also became part of the family because she was a very judgmental of her. So to me, that also said, like, okay, you may have been the one who did that with him, and now you don't want somebody else to do that to your money, because that's again, that's the dynamics that I got. And also playing into, stereotypes, since the movie really used a lot of stereotypes. I'm sure that could
Yeah.
also easily be
And
one.
the way she judges this other guy who was part of the mafia, she treats him like, no, you're gonna do bad things to me and all that. And he was like, no.
Just look. uh,
She wanted to fit somewhere. Okay. So
Her sense of belonging.
her
Yes.
sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
She was looking for that because even with the family, the first conversation that she had with the kid's family was, I'm proud of being part of your family. And again, I understand
Oh, and she
where the mom
spoke
and father come from. Like,
she
okay,
spoke a little bit of Russian, and all that. No, sweetie.
the worst part is that they dabbed on the fact that possibly, and I don't know, this is the impression that I got from the mom and the dad. Like, most likely he was the one with the money, and then she also became part of the family because she was a very judgmental of her. So to me, that also said, like, okay, you may have been the one who did that with him, and now you don't want somebody else to do that to your money, because that's again, that's the dynamics that I got. And also playing into, stereotypes, since the movie really used a lot of stereotypes. I'm sure that could
Yeah.
also easily be
And
one.
the way she judges this other guy who was part of the mafia, she treats him like, no, you're gonna do bad things to me and all that. And he was like, no.
Just look. uh,
She wanted to fit somewhere. Okay. So
Her sense of belonging.
her
Yes.
sense of belonging.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
She was looking for that because even with the family, the first conversation that she had with the kid's family pues I'm proud of being part of your family. And again, I understand
Oh,
where
and she
where the mom
spoke
and father come from. Like,
she
okay,
spoke
you're
a little bit of Russian, and all that. No, sweetie.
the worst part is that they also they dabbed on the fact that possibly, and I don't know, this is the impression that I got from the mom and the dad. Like most likely he was the one with the money, and then she also became part of the family because she was a very judgmental of her. So to me, that also said like, okay, you may have been the one who did that with him, and now you don't want somebody else to do that to your money because that's again that's the dynamics that I got, and also playing into stereotypes. Since the movie
Yeah,
really used a lot of stereotypes, I'm sure that could
yeah.
also easily be
And
one.
the way she judges this other guy who was part of the mafia, she treats him like, no, you're gonna do bad things to me and all that. And he was like,
I
no.
just look. Uh,
She wanted to fit somewhere. Okay. So
Her sense of belonging.
her sense
Yes,
of belonging.
yes.
Yes,
She
yes.
she she
That's
was looking for that because even with the family, the first conversation that she had with the kid's family was, I'm proud of being part of your family, and again, I understand
oh,
where
and
where the mom and father come from. Like,
she
okay,
spoke a little bit of Russian, and all that. No, sweetie.
the worst part is that they dabbed on the fact that possibly I will now defend my stance because again I insist the very 50 minutes to me, and again this is no shade, I found them average, but again without the context of knowing what was going to come.
And it's so
So
average, you can see it on the streets, like
yes, exactly,
right
to me
now.
that was a very average movie. It's like, okay, I was not involved. I remember I was doing other stuff while watching it, and I was not that taken by it. I was just, okay, something's gonna happen, and it's not gonna go anywhere. But the change of tone to comedy to me is what actually made this movie, and particularly I do think the cast
Yeah.
of this movie was
Lovely,
fabulous,
lovely. And
fabulous. They are the ones, and the director was the one who did the casting himself, so I will also give him props. I think he knew exactly who he wanted to see in each role,
yeah.
and I'm sure he sat down with these people, and when for the comedy part they said, have you ever watched the Three Stooges? That is exactly what I want to see on the screen because it was so dumb, it was nonsensical. This lady just overpowering a whole bunch of thugs from the mafia. That made no sense, but that's exactly what I love. It was just
But
so ridiculous.
when you see those guys dressed in black, with those jackets, very big, Russian, and all that, you say, no, they are from the mafia, of course.
Also the part, like, she's a streetwise, so she's not really scared of them because she's used to seeing that kind of people. And also remember, she's Russian descendant. So again, to her, it's also like, oh, this is more of the same for her.
Yeah.
So I also like those dynamics. Like you could tell there is a uh, ethnical background that
Yes.
we are not necessarily aware of. However, I think this is a little view of how those dynamics are in that specific section of the area because I did do some
Yeah.
research, and there is a Russian community, Armenian community, so those social dynamics also play a role into that or how they were represented.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they pretty much get this lady. The lady was like, I need to talk to him. She's still being naive and thinking, oh, I still have a chance to be a millionaire with this kid. Well, I actually think she was doing for love. She was so desperate to feel, to belong, that I honestly don't think the money was necessarily her driving force. It was mostly the need to belong. And so
Long, but if you say she was doing that for love, so how did you justify the last scene? So
She
again.
learned what that I exactly justified with it. She actually saw that she was loved. I think she realized, like, when the kid did not stand up for himself, that's when she
Mhm.
realized, oh, okay, so you're just a baby's boy. And she actually expressed it. And
For
then
himself, and you know the fact that when they finally find this boy, he demonstrates not to care about absolutely anything.
no,
He
she
was
he
the
was
one who
intoxicated.
was
He was
caring.
intoxicated. So that she again, remember, I think you don't remember, well, I don't know if you ever were infatuated like that. Like I do think she truly believed, oh, okay, no, he's intoxicated. He will stand up for me. Of course not. She was being delusional. She was being naive. She was being dumb.
Exactly.
But that's also part of it. And I think this is where exactly you don't relate to the character. You've never been that person. I have. So
All
that's
right.
also why I can easily relate to this. Just because, yes, of course, you're making dumb decisions just because, oh, I love the person. And that is where this character to me is so relatable because she's making the stupidest decisions just out of love or out of the expectation to be loved because we know,
Out of
the viewer knows from
exactly.
the very beginning this is not love. We know it.
Out
But
of
what
the
happens is
expectation of being accepted somewhere, you know? Yes.
to be loved. I do think to be loved because with him. Because again, remember, she was willing to stick with him even if he stood up to her and to his mom. And I don't know, they ended up just, kicking him out, not giving him the money, whatever. I still think she would have been like with him. However, that's not how it happens. Of course, the kids minds the money more. Lady,
Megapixel thinks that's not a good movie.
no, she likes it. I'm sure she likes it. That's why she's covering you. It's like, shut up.
She watched it with me. That's
She
why.
watched it. That's
Yeah,
important.
yeah. That no,
um,
that's why she's here commenting.
so the other thing is, I mean, yeah, you have the Three Stooges, and then you have this authoritarian figure, the mom. Because of that, he barely plays a role. But at the same time, she's the strongest character in that movie, and I love it. Right, like her. Like I think at
She's the
some
one who
point,
takes control.
huh?
She's the one who takes control, definitely.
Definitely, but I insist. I think she knows, or at least she thinks she knows what the lady's after, like the money. So
Yeah.
of course she's protecting, the mother hen, protecting her own. But at the same time, I think she sees herself in the girl, and she's like, "Oh no, you're not doing the same with my boy. I'm sorry, you're not getting money." So that's where I
Yes.
think that comes from. Ultimately, they end up getting divorced. Um, and I have not talked about this character yet. Igor, to me, since the very beginning, that's also how important the cast was to me. I saw them see each other and I knew
Yes.
he likes her. That's how good his acting was.
Yes.
As immediately, as soon as he saw her, like, wow, he's into her.
Yes.
And ultimately, yes, he uses force to hold her down, etc. But at the same time, you can tell he's trying to protect her. At
And
the end, he even says it: "I'm protecting you from
it
yourself."
was so funny the way they try to stop her. Like,
It was
stop,
ridiculous. It
stop
was
killing.
ridiculous. 100% ridiculous, and that is exactly what makes the movie good in Max. Like it was just ridiculous. It made no sense. But look, I love it. However, okay, so they get divorced. This character Igor, throughout the entire movie, he is the one who's actually standing up for her, and she's just ignoring him the entire movie. She's like, oh, I mean, she calls him, the F word, F slur. No, you're gay, blah blah blah. And again, I don't want to use slurs, but you all know which one. And so she's just dismissing him, and at the end, okay, he is the one that takes her back to, I don't remember where they're from, New Jersey, maybe, I don't recall. Coney Island, whatever, I don't know. The whole point is, they're alone finally, and the other issue is resolved. Okay, so back to where I was. Okay, so last 10 minutes of the movie, we have Igor and the main character Anora. Uh, they finally have some alone time. We see some exchanges. Uh, she makes fun of his accent, his lack of, English skills. Uh, Connection. So
Yeah.
super connection, but I mean that's how a relationship starts. It has to start somewhere. So
Exactly.
yeah, and honestly, we had
A
also
moment of talk, you know?
exactly talking, basic talking, which they hadn't really done throughout the entire movie. But we had seen him being protective of her, so we
Yeah.
already know he was interested. She had noticed, but she had her walls up. So she was trying to keep him away, and she makes it clear. What you want to do to me is, again, I cannot say the word, but starts with an R. You just want to have sex with me, pretty much, uh, or so you just want to force me to have sex with you.
Yeah.
And
Sad.
he clarifies that, like, no, and very ironically, he looks very well built, not super, but again, muscly. He looks rough, but he has a gentle face, and that's also why I really like the casting, because you could tell, like, no, that he doesn't come across that way, never. And so she was just, and I also think this is part of the characterization of her. You could tell she was projecting that image onto every single guy. And
Yes.
he also did that with the kid. She knew.
Because she needs to be the center of attention. She
No,
needs she
no,
needs to be desired.
no,
Yes.
no,
Yes,
no.
completely.
The way she's moved in the world, she knows, or at least she thinks she knows, that what guys want with her, it's her body. That's the key. That's what she thinks is the key to
She
her.
thinks is the key. She is her, that is her learned behavior, okay? But at the same
Her coping
time,
mechanism. Her
she
coping
needs
mechanism.
to be seen. Her coping mechanism, exactly. But at
Not
the
to be
same time,
seen,
she
but to
needs.
to get a relationship. That's what she thinks she needs to do to be in a relationship, to belong, not to be the center of attention. That's not what she wants. She wants to be loved, to
Mm,
feel, to belong, and she thinks that's the way she's gonna get it. Because and also this is also playing on the fact that she's a prostitute. She works the streets. So okay, so back to where I was. Okay, so last 10 minutes of the movie, we have Igor and the main character Anora. Uh, they finally have some alone time. We see some exchanges. Uh, she makes fun of his accent, his lack of, English skills. Uh, Connection. So
yeah,
super connection, but I mean that's how a relationship starts. It has to start somewhere. So
exactly.
yeah, and honestly, we had
A
also
moment of talk, you know?
exactly talking, basic talking, which they hadn't really done throughout the entire movie. But we had seen him being protective of her, so we
Yeah.
already know he was interested. She had noticed, but she had her walls up. So she was trying to keep him away, and she makes it clear. What you want to do to me is, again, I cannot say the word, but starts with an R. You just want to have sex with me, pretty much, uh, or so you just want to force me to have sex with you.
Yeah.
And
Sad.
he clarifies that, like, no, and very ironically, he looks very well built, not super, but again, muscly. He looks rough, but he has a gentle face, and that's also why I really like the casting, because you could tell, like, no, that he doesn't come across that way, never. And so she was just, and I also think this is part of the characterization of her. You could tell she was projecting that image onto every single guy.
Yes.
And she also did that with the kid. She knew.
Because she needs to be the center of attention. She
No,
needs she
no,
needs to be desired.
no,
Yes.
no,
Yes,
no.
completely.
The way she's moved in the world, she knows, or at least she thinks she knows, that what guys want with her, it's her body. That's the key. That's what she thinks is the key to
She
her.
thinks is the key. She is her that is her learned behavior, okay? But at the same
Her coping
time,
mechanism. Her
it
coping
needs
mechanism.
to be seen. Her coping mechanism, exactly. But at
Not
the
to be
same time,
seen,
she
but
needs
to get a relationship. That's what she thinks she needs to do to be in a relationship, to belong, not to be the center of attention. That's not what she wants. She wants to be loved, to
Mm,
feel, to belong, and she thinks that's the way she's gonna get it. Because and also this is also playing on the fact that she, she's a prostitute. She works the streets. So okay, so back to where I was. Okay, so
uh,
last 10 minutes of the movie, we have Igor and the main character Anora. Uh, they finally have some alone time. We see some exchanges. Uh, she makes fun of his accent, his lack of, English skills. Uh, Connection. So
yeah,
superfluous connection, but I mean that's how a relationship starts. It has to start somewhere. So
exactly.
yeah, and honestly, we had
A
also
moment of talk, you know.
exactly talking, basic talking, which they hadn't really done throughout the entire movie. But we had seen him being protective of her, so we
Yeah.
already know he was interested. She had noticed, but she had her walls up. So she was trying to keep him away, and she makes it clear. What you want to do to me is, again, I cannot say the word, but starts with an R. You just want to have sex with me, pretty much. Uh, or so you just want to force me to have sex with you.
Yeah,
And
sad.
he clarifies that, like, no, and very ironically, he looks very well built, not super, but again, muscly. He looks rough, but he has a gentle face, and that's also why I really like the casting, because you could tell, like, no, that's he doesn't come across that way, never. And so she was just, and I also think this is part of the characterization of her. You could tell she was projecting that image onto every single guy. And
Yes.
she also did that with the kid. She knew.
Because she needs to be the center of attention. She
No,
needs she
no,
needs to be desired.
no,
Yes.
no,
Yes,
no.
completely.
The way she's moved in the world, she knows, or at least she thinks she knows, that what guys want with her, the whole point is, regardless of whether she is or she's not, because that's not the point, she thinks she needs to do that to get a relationship, any kind of relationship with a man. Because at the very end of the movie, we see her doing exactly the same thing she's been doing to every guy, and,
Exactly.
and she was giving her body to him because she was in the car. So when that's happening, we know as a viewer, oh, again, she's thanking him well, I forgot to mention that the guy gave her the engagement ring, and so you realize, and he's still getting the luggage out of the car and everything, so you as a viewer know, oh,
Being a gentleman.
he's being a gentleman. Exactly. He's just, hey, this is for you to help yourself. And I'm taking the luggage out. And this is it.
And
You don't
not
want to
even
see.
for you to help yourself. This is yours.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
This
even that.
is yours.
Exactly. This is yours. Well, but I think he did it because he cares. So at the same time, it's here. Because remember, he wasn't the one who had it. The boss had it, Taurus. So he probably took it from Taurus. And that's also why he said, don't say anything. So he purposely took it to give it to her. So when that happens, that exchange, she realizes, oh, he actually, he cares about me.
Just as Megapixel is realizing at the moment.
Exactly. And so the whole point is, she finally breaks the pattern. That is what actually made the movie fantastic for me, because you had over 2 hours of this lady making the same mistake over and over
In a
again.
very disastrous and noisy
Chaotic,
situation,
chaotic,
Yeah,
yeah,
very chaotic.
exactly. The whole movie is very chaotic, even the very first hour. So right there, she once again, she literally sits on the guy's lap. They get to it. They get down to business, and the guy stops her, and he's like, "No, oh no, I remember. He wanted to kiss her, and she was pulling back, so she was still being defensive about no, I don't want I don't want an emotional connection. This never happens. And if I recall correctly, the first kid never kissed her. So also into the fact that, okay, this is not how a relationship goes. What are you doing? So possibly, and this is me assuming, this is the very first time she was being catered to in that way, politely, gently, even in that sexual context. So she breaks finally, because that's another thing. Throughout the entire movie, I had already given up in any emotional development of pretty much any character, because I thought it would end up just being a comedy, and that's it. But in those 5 to 10 minutes, finally I get a real emotion, because that's how I took it, and that's exactly why I think it's actually a very good movie, because throughout 2 hours you really don't see, you just see nonsensical behavior, irresponsible decisions,
Yeah.
no real uh human reaction from her. I never saw something relatable in when it comes down to good decisions.
No, everything was completely reptile, like
Exactly. Yes, very.
out of a sudden.
Yes, exactly. It all just one thing after the other. That she was just not crazy, but reacting out of the need to get a win, to actually do something right.
Exactly.
Because
And
she
from
was
the
always
beginning, the viewer knows that she's not
yeah,
gonna make
goes
it,
back to the
you
sense of
know?
belonging. She just wanted to be right, and to feel like she had done something right. Absolutely, she didn't. Pretty much throughout the entire movie, she never did anything right. But the one thing she didn't even think of, oh, the one guy that's actually been supporting me since he showed up in her life, he actually cares for her. And very ironically, he's the one that stops her and, holds her down,
Exactly.
allows her to finally feel her emotions. And that's when I finally saw her break. That to me is what actually made the movie this good. It has all of the different stages of somebody finally realizing of everything that I've made, and how to move past that. That is to me what justifies and gets the movie to that level. And also the fact that it was very intimate. It was just these two actors. The camera shots actually changed. The
Yes.
cinematography was very, face to
All
face.
the color palette, everything,
Everything
everything
changed.
changed. Absolutely.
Exactly. And then you finally see this him, and I don't think he gets enough credit. I know he was nominated for some awards, but I actually wish he had won something, because to me he is the one that next to her carry the whole thing. His acting was so subtle, and at the very end he just it just worked. I cried. I cried in those 5 to 10 minutes.
I
When
couldn't. I'm sorry. I
I
just
felt for it. I
couldn't.
needed it. I think I needed it. I felt the urge for some release. I was like, okay, if this is how it's gonna end, when it was still comedic, but okay, it can end like this. But to me, it would be one more comedy. Well, okay, the movie did something original. The way it went from this whole fairy tale to this comedic release, but that was not enough. I really had not had enough yet.
There
But
was
I thought,
there was a need of that part, like
yeah,
to make
but
it to make it sensational. Yes.
but exactly that to me is what actually, and that's where I really give the director credit. He knew what he was doing. He saved it for the very end, because that's also something that at times happens to me. And I will bring back Poor Things. To me, when they were getting married in that movie, that to me was the bigger release of the movie. And so and I think that's what happened to me the very first time I watched it. After that, it was not an afterthought. But to me, the
Yeah,
cut
but
had already happened.
the difference here is that, I mean,
I mean, the characters. Oh, okay, no, and don't get me wrong. The characters really don't compare one to each other. I'm only talking about the movie progression.
yeah,
I,
okay, but the difference here is that it you didn't have to wait that much to have that light in the development of the character. You see the lights at the end with this movie.
that's also the whole point. I do think it left me right at the point where I wanted to be left. I love an ending like this. I love it. Just because, okay, I don't know what else is going to happen, because they may not even staying together or not. But I saw the character evolving. And,
Exactly.
and I just left on a high note. To me, I don't know why, but I really like this. When something just leaves me with my emotions. I remember I had to take like 5 minutes just to process and channel all of the emotions I was left with. I like it when I'm left that way at the very end of the movie. I can see some other people not necessarily. I get it. But to me, that is a perfect ending. I'm not saying like poor thing.
To me, I mean, again, I can see the positive side of all the movie, okay, and the way the director, huh?
But you just say the main character, which is fine. That's also part of it.
Exactly. I mean, how come you take that long for and to me it was so much. I mean, there was so much absurdity. Of course, it's a funny movie
Purposely,
that's
yeah.
purposely made. Okay, I understand that, but I got exhausted. I was asking myself, when is this going to end? Okay, when is the final dramatic end of all this situation? And I hadn't read anything about Anora or anything.
I recall.
I had a friend who told me, okay, but you know those final 5 minutes, and I said, okay, what are those final 5 minutes about? So I
Okay,
said,
but who
okay,
said
she
that?
finally
Was it
learned
me? Was
some.
it me who told you that?
No.
Okay, I will call that person out. That person may have spoiled the movie for you, because the whole thing is you don't know that's coming.
Yes and no.
You
I
were
mean,
already expecting something that can make it or break it, because you were
no,
expecting something.
because I was aware from the very beginning. I mean, it's the kind of movies that perfectly justifies the reasons of all that absurdity at the beginning. So all that absurdity, I was like, okay, but uh-huh. So what's that biggest final end? So, and again, okay, she finally realizes the way she has screwed the decision making in her life. Okay, that's it. I was left like that, like, okay.
I don't know. I actually think that's a big accomplishment, because not everybody realizes ever uh they need to change their ways. That's big. I mean, that's not you and I big, because of course will say, I think we have better analysis capacity, but at the same time, that's not the average person. A lot of people just go by their entire lives and they don't realize they should have changed their ways at any moment.
You know what? The thing is that even when you realize how much you have screwed a situation, it doesn't guarantee anything, you know? So it's
It
like,
makes a pivotal point. I mean, and again, this is already the movie because we don't see anything after. So this is me already thinking, assuming.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
I think this is a pivotal point for the character after this. Like, I see the beginning of something between the two, or at least something better for her. But it's because of those 5 minutes at the end. With that, and I had given up. I was not expecting that. I thought the movie was just gonna end. She was gonna go back to the to headquarters and continue doing her job.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
the comedy was so nonsensical that I just thought, okay, it's just
yeah.
gonna remain a comedy, and that's it.
And I mean, a typical comedy movie would have ended with, she finally does something to take advantage of a situation, you know?
Yeah,
And that's
even the
it.
reading. I actually thought that the movie that actually gave that option is like, oh yes, I'm gonna start a business.
She's not
Something
she's
stupid.
not gonna get divorced, for example. She's going to escape from
Or she was
them
not gonna
and
get divorced. Yeah,
she's gonna set them into trouble, okay? Yeah. But again, okay, she learned. She finally learned, okay? And even though it was very exhausting for me, actually, that's another criticism I make to the movie. It's pretty difficult, even for analytical people, to realize that huge truth in 1 or 2 days, in 2 weeks, So it's,
well,
again,
I mean,
it's a
with
movie.
all of the with everything that happened,
It's
because
a
all of it
movie,
were
okay?
very
You have to portray that in
extraordinary
2 hours.
circumstances.
Yes. But again, I don't know. It's just that,
It's fine.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. Mm-mm. I enjoyed it very much. I've only watched it twice. The very first time I remember I watched it with an evil, and I already knew it was nominated for the award. So I'm like, okay, I want to watch it, and I was pleasantly surprised. Like I remember, it's the one movie that actually got me really excited about the whole award season, and I haven't watched it since. And yesterday I watched it at 1 a.m. and I watched it, and so I remember I said, okay, let me give it another try at this time and see. I stood awake till the very end. I watched it in one watch, and same reaction. It did not change. I loved all of the comedy in it. The very first 50 minutes, I was in and out. I mean, I was on my phone, blah blah blah. Again, that's not really the that part. I get why it exists, and this is also something I learned from Almodovar. You have to showcase how the characters get to a point. You cannot just tell the viewer,
Yeah.
"Oh, they started getting they the movie cannot start with them getting married." It
But
just doesn't make
again,
sense.
I mean, to be a comedy movie with that level of intensity, it's also a positive side of the movie. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. It took its time.
definitely.
It took its time. Again, I was actually surprised. Well, that's the other thing. Whenever I watch movies, I tend to at this point I tend to check out my brain if I see there is nothing that's gonna have crazy turns and loops. So I had already categorized this movie as standard. Just it's fine. I'll be doing something else while it's going. But I remember when we have this inflection point of, oh, okay, everything's finally going wrong, and it just started being comedic. Like, oh, okay, it really caught my attention. And since then to the very end, it's like, wow, okay. If you ask me, I would have possibly done things differently, but for the first 15 minutes, again, I'm not a director, so I don't really know what, but uh, it could have done maybe a little shorter or more straightforward. However, it was effective in the sense that I knew exactly what the characters had gone through, and that made it really funny. Those like pretty much the second half,
And
and
even
then
though, I mean, even though those 15 minutes, the very beginning, it's not that catching.
catching. Hmm. It is important.
Here you have very particular points that tell you many things about her. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
The fact,
exactly. That's also why I don't really want to say that. I don't think the movie could be this movie without those 50 minutes.
exactly.
So yeah, I'm not gonna be that person. I do know they are needed. Um, and again, Sean Baker, thank you. I
I
loved it. I know it may not be her cup of coffee, but cup of tea. I don't know why I said coffee. Her cup of tea, but look, it is mine. And even more importantly, Mikey Madison. I love her acting. And that's the other thing. She had not really done any big movies. She had done a
no.
horror movie recently. I had watched it already, but
Fantastically.
I don't even remember having watched her in that movie. It was a horror movie.
No, for me, this is the
Scream.
first time I see her on
No, I think she
any.
had acted in a Scream. So okay, she appeared. It's fine, but I don't remember her. So when I watched
I
this movie, to me, it was the first time I was watching her consciously, and then it's
I
like,
would have given her that award, definitely, for sure. I mean, yes. And not only to her, to the whole cast.
yes, to me, the chemistry, even with the parents, because the kid, I get it, he was acting dumb, irresponsible. So that one is the hardest to actually say he was. Oh, the acting. But for every other character, I do think they knew exactly their comedic timing, the interaction with each other, the physical comedy was also there. Uh,
Yes,
just I live.
absolutely everything.
Yes.
Absolutely everything.
Any final thoughts? I think I already said my piece. You, Laura.
Watch it, because the idea is that, I mean, you, the viewer, not you, Freddy, but the idea is to listen to you, having your own comments and having your own insights and conclusions about the movie.
And
Okay?
also, most importantly, to have a reasonable conversation,
Yeah.
because what I think really matters about watching a movie beyond saying whether you liked it or not is rationalizing those thoughts. That is the really important thing about something, everything in general. You can have an opinion, a very superfluous opinion about something,
Yeah.
but okay, if I ask you why, I do think you should be able to expand on it.
To
So
explain, exactly. Explain
exactly.
yourself. Okay?
So this is the
Um,
perfect exercise for this. Movies are not everybody's gonna have the same tastes, and that is valid. And also, as an artist, you're always faced with positive and negative opinions about your art.
no,
So,
as an artist, not only as an artist, as
oh
a
no,
person in
as
general.
anybody,
I
yes,
mean,
I will attest to that. Yeah,
yeah.
correct. So you have to
You
be
open up a
open.
social media channel and you have opinions, you know,
Exactly. Most people possibly will say, I don't care about your opinions, and that's fine. You don't have to like them, but at the same
yeah,
time, we can say what we want to say. So, but yeah, what matters is keeping it civil,
yeah.
being not necessarily mindful, but reasoning. It's not falling into those traps of, oh, I don't like it, and you just dismiss it. No, okay, you don't like it, that's perfect, but why? Tell me reasons. I want to hear it.
I don't like it, and I would watch it again. You know?
Well, that's okay. That's a very
Okay.
good start
It's a
because
it's a very nice way to say, here she is telling us this. Here she is telling us that. I mean, telling us, the viewer. Okay? So, again, do you have to wait for all that disaster in order to finally learn something? I mean, come on, girl.
Exactly. That is very good. That's the attitude, girl.
Girl.
Yes, with a U, girl. Exactly. Just
Exactly.
I agree to that. Yes, it's a very much girl. Open your eyes. How is it that we say in our country? Date cuenta, amiga.
Amiga, te cuento.
Date cuenta, amiga. It's not happening. Open your eyes. Yes.
Exactly.
Exactly. It was very much that. It was very much that. But look, that's how it goes, and that's how I think it's hilarious. But yes, all the time from the very beginning is, girl, this is not going anywhere. What are you doing? Yeah.
Like, what? Why? Ah, come on.
hmm
No,
all
no.
of the WH words. What? Where? How?
No.
No. Why? Yeah. All of them. Yeah. Correct. That. It's very much that. But look, and to me, it was a very fun movie. I released from MLaura was stressful,
Yes.
and it
For
was
me, it was very stressful, because there is, I mean, let's face it, it's noisy. It's very noisy. So I was like,
it's
no,
chaotic. It's chaotic, but I
it's
loved it. I
chaotic.
thrive in that kind of chaos in a movie with
Yeah.
a purpose. Because if it has no purpose, to me, it's just whatever. But again, it lived in that Three Stooges chaos. So
It's
I loved it.
justified. Again, it's in so wisely justified because that type of noise you can easily find at any home, at any place. In this moment we are talking, there is some noise being produced that way somewhere.
That's also part of it. I do think it was very real in how it portrayed those interactions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. I'm sorry, I loved it.
I
Uh,
didn't, but anyways, I love talking about it.
which is fantastic. That's what we're here for. And with this, everybody, we're gonna end today's show.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
watching Go Movie Talk. Uh, this has been Freddy and Maria Laura. Thanks for
Thank
joining us.
you, thank you, thank you. And remember to watch Anora. Remember to give us a like if you like it. Give us a share, comment, okay?
Share, like, and subscribe.
Yeah,
Tell us
I mean,
your thoughts
uh,
on the movie.
by one side, you will give us a rating, but by the other, the most important side of this like, share, and comment is that we want to hear you, okay? We are here to, again, we like talking about this. So we would like to see and read your comments about the movie, okay? So thank you. Thank you so much for watching, okay? This is Go
Anora.
Movie Talks, episode 5.
Thanks for watching. Go Movie Talks.